Welcome to the Redefining Real Estate podcast. I am your hostess, Michelle Ellis, and I have the pleasure of having Derek Timmons on with us. He was just on with us last week on the Feel Forward podcast, so I'm super excited he was willing to spend more time with me. Derek is out in Edmonton, right? Calgary, yeah. Sorry. And he's with CIR Realty, he's part of the Maverick Group. So welcome and thank you for spending more time with me. And I would love to know the little bit of a backstory on how you got into real estate.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's been great. I'm excited any chance I get to share my story or help someone out with their projects. I'm more than happy to do so. So my story in real estate, to me feels like it's totally normal, but I've been told recently, it's been brought to my attention that it's not all that normal, which has been a bit of an alarming discovery because all I know is all I know. But I've been a realtor for 5 years. 5 years. So I got licensed in November 1st of 2017. And I became a real estate agent by accident. I never wanted to be a real estate agent. I did not like real estate agents. I still kind of don't really like real estate agents. But I used to be in construction. So I got my real estate license with the intention of flipping houses and having an inside track to the MLS and getting paid to purchase the properties. And it turned out that I started, selling houses on the side, like to friends and family and coworkers and stuff like that. And I didn't do very many, but 1 month I ended up selling a couple houses in 1 month, and I made significantly more in that month selling those 2 houses than I normally made in a full month doing construction. So when that happened, I started really, really taking a look at real estate and giving it an honest shot and an effort. And it was very hard. My first year, I only did 2 deals. I didn't tell anyone really that I was a realtor, but along the way, I met Richard Robbins, who is, both of our mentors. And I heard him speak in April of 2018. And when I heard him speak, I got hope for the first time that I could do this. And the thing that became very clear to me was I started expressing my my process with my construction career, or I started describing it as a fool's insanity. So everybody knows the definition of insanity is that you do the same things over and over and over again, expecting different results. Well, in my mind, a fool's insanity is doing everything over and over, knowing exactly what the results are going to be, but doing them anyway. So I knew after 15 years of being in construction that I was going to make between $60,000 and maybe $100,000 a year if I was lucky, usually 60 to 80. And that no matter what I tried everything. I tried hiring more people. I started doing only custom homes. I started waking up earlier, working an extra day on Saturdays. And it's just, there was all these factors that sort of just stopped me from growing or growing my income. Like in Alberta, if it's minus 30, they can't deliver material, or if there's no heat in the building, you can't work. So, or it was very cyclical. So, we would notice that like investors would stop putting their money in and we wouldn't have as much work. So long story short, when I saw Richard speak, it gave me hope because I was seeing other people that I didn't feel like we're all that special, like not to be rude, but like, I'm like, well, this,
if he can do it, so can I, or if she can do it, so can I.
And one of those guys was Tom Story, who is now a very good friend of mine. And I really looked up to Tom, but at the time he was like, I don't know, 27, making money that I didn't think was possible for anyone to make, other than like, the CEO of an oil and gas company. But I'm like, this guy isn't even 30. He's making this crazy amount of money. And he's not doing anything that is like unrealistic. Like I can do everything that he's doing. So when that happened, I just started copying all these agents that I started to, discover and respect. And then I signed up for coaching with RRI with Richard Robbins' company. And that was August of 2018. So I did 2 deals in 2018. I signed up for coaching. And then 6 months after I signed up for coaching, I quit my job and went full time with real estate, which was terrifying, like unbelievably terrifying. I had to support my mom and my son, and we had no money. Like, we had no money. I look back on it now and I'm like, I don't know how I did it. But my line of credit was maxed. My visa was maxed. I had $15,000 in the bank that was supposed to be taxes for my construction income. And I had that year I had sold 3 houses. So I went into full-time real estate only ever having done 5 deals with 0 money and like debt. But I was at the point where I was like, if I don't do this now, it's never going to work. It's never going to happen. And I just got to the end of my ropes, and I had gained up enough momentum through my, the exercises that my coach was teaching me to do, that I felt confident that I could do it. And I just worked like a dog in 2019. I only took 3 days off in 2019. Like, I went nuts. I did 4 open houses every weekend. I was constantly trying to meet new referral partners. I was just out there, putting my name out there, meeting as many people as I possibly could. So in 2019, I ended up at 25 deals. So I did 3 deals between January 1st and April 30th. And then between May 1st and December 30th, December 31st, I did 22 more. So I was like, wow, that worked pretty well. And then 2020, it grew again. So I did 47 deals in 2020. And then in 2021, when the world just went nuts, I did 91. So I went from 47 to 91, which was insane. And then last year we ended at 107.
Wow.
So, and through that process, I formulated a real business. So now I have an admin team and other agents on the team. I branded the team Maverick Group. I never wanted to brand myself. I don't want to be like Derek Timmons Real Estate. And I tell people that I joined a team. I don't like to say like I started a team. This is my team. Look at how good we're doing. Like,
yeah,
I don't like that shit. So, and I don't know why I mentioned that. It's not important, but that's just how we are. I want everyone to be a contributing member of the team. And we've got a girl totally. We've got a girl on our team who had 0 real estate experience. She was a piano teacher for the last, I don't know how many years, 7 years. She was making around $10,000 to $15,000 a year teaching piano. And last year she did 21 deals in
Amazing.
6 months, actually. So it's changed her life. So, and now she's already made 3 times as much money this year in 2.5 months as she used to make in a full year. So
Crazy.
It's something that has been a real blessing in the sense that we get to use this opportunity to not only help our clients, which sounds super corny, but like we really do help our clients in a huge way, because I believe we provide a better value than a lot of realtors and better service, and we go the extra mile. But the people that join us, their lives are changing too. So, and my life certainly changed doing 107 deals in a year. It's not looking like it used to. So that's my story. That's what I've done in the last 4 years. It's been pretty intense, but I'm thankful for it.
I remember I was introduced to RI in 2020, literally like right as COVID hit. And I'm almost positive that you did a presentation. Did you do a presentation for Masters Academy?
Yeah, the virtual one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recall that because I remember thinking, and I forget the topic that you spoke about. I know Tom talked about his Hey Neighbor because I started using that. What was your topic again? Because it was really, really good. And it's not that it was so good, I can't remember.
I've been fortunate enough to speak at their conferences a number of times, so I'm not exactly sure which one. He interviewed me one time on a virtual event, and then another one. Oh, I talked about strategic alliances.
Yes,
at one of those virtual events.
That's what it was.
Yeah, so strategic alliances was a huge play for me in 2019 and 2020.
Yeah.
Still is. It's just not as fruitful as the other sources that have grown, but yeah, so that's what I talked about.
So what would you say your biggest resource or source of businesses at this point?
Every year it's changed, which has been interesting. I think it's fair though, because I'm still so new in the business. But in 2020, my number one source of business was strategic alliances. So for those of you who don't know what a strategic alliance is, it's anybody that has access to multiple people who want to buy or sell real estate within a year, that want to give you those people to handle them as a client. So the strategic alliance would be like a mortgage broker, a builder, a lender, or a lawyer, I actually have an alliance now with a moving company who is a nationwide chain.
Oh,
And
perfect.
they have people move into Airdrie and Calgary all the time. So we send them all of our clients that need to move within Airdrie. Excuse me. And they send us their referrals when someone's pricing out a move but doesn't have a realtor coming in or going out. So strategic alliances was a big one for me. They still are, but they're just like I think it's third down on our list. So for 2021 and 2022, Google was my number one source of business. We put a lot of time, energy, focus, and money into Google in 2020, and then we hit the number one spot. And ever since then, it's just been pumping out deals. Like we did in 2021, we did 39 deals from Google, and then last year we did 33. Wow. But we rolled into 2023 with 4 active listings and 2 buyers from Google. So I mean, the numbers were fairly similar. Currently, as it stands today, Google is our number one source of business. But that's that's part and parcel with the fact that like we have so many people moving to Alberta, specifically to Calgary and area from Ontario and BC. So when they're coming from out of province, they'll Google a local realtor in a town that they don't know anything about. They'll find us, see our reviews, and they reach out to us, and then we take them through our process. But surprisingly enough, and my coach, sort
is
of
Bill your coach?
He is. Yeah.
Yes, we have the same coach.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes, I switched coaches probably 2 years ago. So I've been with Bill for almost 2 years, I think.
Oh, he's amazing.
I love Bill.
I would never leave. I would never leave him. If he ever stopped coaching, I would be heartbroken. I don't know what I would do. But he told me middle of the year last year, he's like, well, just hang tight because next year in your 5th year, your LRS, your lifetime referral system, is really going to take hold, and your repeat is going to become a real thing, which hasn't up until this point. I think repeat, maybe last year I did 5 deals tops. I'd have to look at my tracker, but it wasn't a significant source of business, the repeat, but it started to show up, which was cool. And now this year so far, my repeat is my number 2 source of business. So, and they're all very close because I mean, it's only the middle of March, right? So, but like Google, repeat and referrals, they're all like it's a tight race. Yeah. But as it stands today, as a team, we've done 28 deals in 2.5 months. So we're punching out, an average of 10 deals a month so far, but we're still in the slow times. I would anticipate that's going to grow to probably 15 deals a month, through the spring and the summer. But it's hard to say. I guess we'll see.
When you say team, so you have administrative help, and then do you have buyer agents? What does your team structure look like?
Yeah, so there's 4 of us right now, soon to be 5. We're all licensed. So I don't use the word assistant anymore. I don't like it. I feel, and this is just my own opinion, so whoever listens, take it with a grain of salt. But I feel when people say my assistant this, my assistant that, it's just like I feel like that word is rooted in ego. But so I say our admin team. So we have a licensed agent who runs our admin team, and he runs the admin team for all of the agents. And then there's 3 agents who are actually out there. So we don't define ourselves as buyer's agents or listing agents. We're just out there selling houses, doing whatever we can. But we are going to need another administrator fairly soon because we're growing and we're doing more volume, and it's becoming
it's harder for your admin team.
He's outnumbered and he's stressed and he's overwhelmed, but he's killing it. And I told him in advance, and there's going to be financial rewards to that for him as well. Like, hey, let's help me build these systems. I'll take you through the licensing program. I don't feel like you would be an agent because of these reasons, because you have these skills and this personality type. But if we grow this team, this business, the way that I am wanting to and anticipate we will, over time, you'll be running the admin team, the marketing team. You'll have more. Sort of how Nathan Dart has his, I'm not sure what he calls.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he calls it either.
I think his name is Michael, but he's essentially like, he's the operations director of the entire company.
Yeah.
So we're modeling that. But yeah, so there's 3 active agents that are out there in the trenches selling houses. I'm one, and then there's 2 others.
Nice. I had a question and then I should have wrote it down while you were talking. In the sense of, no, it's gone. Okay, so go back to Google for a second. So they're finding you on Google and they're seeing that you have, X amount of reviews. I can relate to that because I also have, I don't know, I think it's like 84 Google reviews, and I was getting tons of business from Google as well. So I think that's super helpful for any agent that's listening, watching, whatever. If you don't, first of all, if you don't have a Google account, and you need to get yourself a Google business account. And secondly, you need to get your clients to write your reviews. And do you find personally on your end things that you have to ask, or they're like more than willing and happy and you don't have to prompt them? I
have never had a client openly just ask if they can write a review. Never. It's never happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to ask, and you have to be diligent, and you have to follow up.
Mhm.
It's a laborious thing for sure.
Yeah.
But it generates income, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, and you did mention that you do, you've put forth money and everything else. So I've never paid for anything Google. I'm curious to know, are you doing like Google Ads, or what is it that you're doing?
No, I'm not doing Google Ads. So Google Ads is actually very expensive and very hard to make money off. I'm currently in a mastermind group with Darren German and Omar Samad from the group, and we're trying to figure out how to get Google Ads to work and make money for us. And we've been trying since November when we went to Masters Academy in Toronto, and we haven't been able to. Google Ads is really hard. So actually my small giant for my Mac group last month was Google, and how I make money doing it. So for you, if you wanted to go onto are you in Mac?
I was last year. I'm taking a break this year because I've got too much coaching stuff on the go, because Bill's not my only coach.
Yeah, fair. Okay. I was going to say, like, you could go into the portal and watch that presentation. I'll see if I can get it and maybe send it to you. But anyways, on air, I was explaining the difference between Google SEO, which is what I do, and Google Ads. And it was explained to me that, so Google Ads would be like filling a sink, running a tap in a sink with the drain open. So the drain's not in there, it's unplugged. You turn the tap on full blast, the water comes out, it's running full speed, it's good to go, but no water's collecting. As soon as you turn the tap off, it's gone, it's done. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Google SEO would be like putting the plug in the drain, turning on a drip, and letting that sink fill up.
Okay.
Once you turn the drip off, the water stays. It doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
But you have that forever.
Okay.
So when you do SEO, which for those of you who aren't familiar with that term, it stands for search engine optimization. You have to think about Google like a big computer. Okay. It's not a person. There's no person in a Google office anywhere in the world studying Airdrie real estate and deciding who's going to go to number one. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just not going to happen. There's 7.5 billion people on this planet, and probably 3/4 of them use the internet.
Yeah.
So when we think about it like a computer, it's a huge algorithm that we probably will never be able to understand, but it is what it is. And it's a series of algorithms that go together. And ultimately what Google's trying to do is promote to the consumer the business in that area for that specific type of business that is the most reputable, that's going to do a good job for the consumer and create a good experience. Now, there's two reasons Google wanted to do this, because Google cares about customer satisfaction. I mean, every time I use Google Maps, it asks me to give them a survey. Were you happy with this? Did you get to where you wanted to go? Like, you know what I mean? So they care about customer satisfaction, but it's a multi-billion-dollar business. So they also understand that, like for my Google, I pay money to have Google accounts and eventually run ads. So the more money I start to make, the more money I'll pump back into Google. So there's a few factors that are going to cause you to be successful with SEO. And I'll just go into them super quick because I could literally talk about this for a full day. But the platform that your website's built on, that's a huge thing. So if your website's built on like a B grade platform or something that's not as quality, Google's going to automatically look at it and go, oh, well, this Derek guy, like he must be an amateur because his website sucks. The number of pages that you have on your website is also going to be a contributing factor to your ranking, because if you just one single page, they think you just started, you haven't been established very long. The content on your website and the flow of the content is also important. So on our website, we have content that comes on, and we have content that then comes off. So every time we list a property, it shows up on our website, and then as soon as it's sold, it just disappears. Now that's a plugin that we used. I didn't do this. I don't have any idea how it works, but it's something to do with a plugin that goes from Korea that.
Okay. Yep.
Also, our Instagram feed, which doesn't help me anymore because I don't post on Instagram, but anytime I post something on Instagram, it'll automatically show up on the website. Right. So Google sees that and they're like, oh, look at that. They're updating their website. They must be serious about their business. Okay. Another thing is the congruency of the content that's on your website. So at one point in time, I was getting a ton of questions about schools in the area. And I'll be honest, I don't really know the schools as well as I should. I know the school that my kids go to, but I don't know all the rest of them. I don't know the names or where they're at, and I should. But so I said to the guy that does our website and our SEO, I said, let's build a page on the website designated for schools so that people can go and get all their access, all the information that they want. It'll be a nice service. And he goes, well, we can do that, but that's going to hurt you. I said, why would that hurt me? He's like, well, you got pages about buying, you got pages about selling, you got pages about open houses, you got pages with listings, and now you're going to have pages about schools. So Google's going to be like, is this guy a realtor or is he a school teacher? And it's going to confuse it, and it's going to drop you in the rankings.
Okay.
So the congruency of your content and also the congruency of all your information. So if you're like, my email is derek@maverickgroupyyc.com. My website is maverickgroupyyc.com. All the things on my Instagram is maverickgroupyyc.com. It all lines up. So if your email is one thing and then your website is something different and whatever, it's also that would be a minor thing, but it helps.
Make a note.
Totally. And the last thing is your social proofing. So, and none of those are in any specific order. There's no one that's more or less important than the other. But yeah, of course, if you have 100 5-star reviews and one of your competitors who's not doing these things that you're not, that you're doing and only has 3 reviews, they're going to rank you higher.
Right.
So that's SEO in a nutshell.
Yeah. Do you guys have 3 best rated there?
We do. And I'm actually, I don't know how, but I keep getting number 1 every year, probably because of Google.
Nice. Yeah, I'm on there too. I
got my first lead from that this year. I've never paid them. They always want me to sign up for a subscription and whatever, and I've never done it, but I got a lead from it somehow.
Nice.
Which was welcomed, but strange.
Yeah. The only thing with Google, so I'm just going to throw it out there to any agent, male or female, who is considering tying the knot and changing their name. So pre getting married, same situation as you, shit ton of business coming through Google, like crazy. Probably my number 2 spot. And then I fought with my future husband and saying, can I just hyphenate my name? First of all, I didn't want to change my name for the sense of business. Then I was like, could I hyphenate my name? And that was a no-go. So I had to change my name. So that actually, it's been a very hard hit for my business from the Google side of things. So if you're planning on changing your name or anything, if you can avoid it at all costs, I would highly recommend that.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's true. When we were going from me being an individual agent to having a team, we had to change the profile I didn't want it to say Derek Timmons Airdrie Realtor anymore. I wanted it to say Maverick Group Airdrie Realtors. Mm-hmm. And we really had to do that over a long period. We took 3 or 4 months to make that happen. So we changed the picture, and then we sat and waited, and then we changed a couple of the names on the profile, or a couple of the words in the profile. And then I'm not sure exactly what he did, but he's like, I really got to take my time with this, because if we do it all at once, Google's going to be like, whoa, what just happened? And then you're going to plummet.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. I never really thought about doing it sort of in stages, I guess. Mm-hmm. So the people that find you on Google, they're calling you. Are they calling you with the intent of hiring you, or are they calling you with the intent of saying, we'd like to interview you?
Both definitely happen. I find that of the vast majority of them, I would say 70% or more, when they contact you, they've already decided that you're the guy or girl that they're going to use, which is actually crazy, because it's literally the definition of shooting fish in a barrel. And they're pre-qualified, they're motivated. So from my experience, how it's worked is they'll Google Airdrie Realtor or best realtor near me or whatever they're Googling. Then they'll see our that were at the top. They go onto the website, they read a few reviews, they go through the website, and then they contact us through the website. And when they send the email from the website, they'll usually say something along the lines of like, "Hey, Derek, my name is Bob Jones. My wife and I want to sell our 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom townhouse and upgrade our home. We've been pre-approved for $700,000. When can you come and talk to us?" Like it's crazy. Like they're motivated. They need somebody. And I think I read a report, or Richard was saying one time, that like 78% of millennials will use a realtor from a referral, or they will only interview one person, something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm finding that to be true.
They talk to or something
like that, or they'll go on the internet and find somebody and then they'll hire them. But the thing is, when the people do say we're interviewing other people, I'm like, hey, absolutely, you totally should. I mean, it's a huge decision. But then the processes that we've learned through the coaching community kick in. And we win those listings too, because we're just better. We're just better agents. We're just better. We provide better value. We show up. We do walkthroughs. We have better listing packages, better listing presentations. We're, like I beat a guy that was it was a Google lead. They also got a referral from a friend of theirs. The agent showed up in his sweatpants after he was drinking the night before. Like things like that. And that's obviously a really rare example, but there's things that we do that we've learned through the coaching community that I'm sure you do as well, that help us stand out against other agents, so that when we do compete against them, we tend to beat them 85% of the time. So, so that's been really cool too.
Okay. I've got a bunch of questions that I wrote out here. So, okay, with the state of the market and everything and how it's changing and pivot, like we're having to pivot and that kind of thing, what are you doing to sort of merge with this sort of transition? Like what?
So let's get something really clear. You have to pivot. We aren't pivoting. We're like trying to keep up.
Yeah.
Our market is going fucking bananas. Like there's a lot of agents in the market here that are concerned because there's really low inventory and there's nothing to buy and all that. But like, that's always going to happen. But like the amount of people from BC and Ontario that are moving here with cash in their hand and like eyes wide open because they can buy a house for $650,000 with a double attached garage, a finished basement, and a yard. They're like, they think we're on drugs. We have no land transfer tax. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, nothing. So our closing cost on a purchase is $1,500.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So we're hanging on for dear life, trying to make sure that we can satisfy all the deals that we have, which sounds super cocky. And I'm not trying to come across that way, but like what's going on in Ontario is not going on in Alberta.
Yeah.
But we've never had the same market. I remember before COVID, you guys were like hot sellers market and like you were holding offers and all that. It was like 100, 200,000 over list price. We never saw that either. So in my career of over 300 deals, I've had 5 times where it's gone more than $20,000 over the list price. That's it. And maybe tops 10 times where it's gone over the list price in general. Wow. I had 3 times last year when our market took a huge shift where it went $100,000 over the list price. And I thought I was going to die. I was like, what? We had 21 offers on one of those listings. We had 92 showings in 3 days.
That
was the only time that ever happened to me. And I was like, if this is what real estate is going to be, I'm out. Like this sucks.
That was like, it was like that on steroids in Ontario, all of like mid 2020 to like 2022.
I do want to touch on your question though, because I think it's valid and I don't want to brush it off because there's people across the country listening. But I think one thing that I can say about myself that I'm very proud of is that I have always consistently stuck to the basics of what I was told to do in the beginning. So I don't feel like I need to pivot because I've never changed what works. I've never stopped doing what works. And so Bill has said to me many times, I'm sure he said it to you, but becoming successful in real estate or any business for that matter is learning how to manage the repetitious boredom and going through the motions of the shit that you don't want to do every day. Like, I don't want to wake up every day and make 30 phone calls to people and follow up with prospects. I don't love that, but I love the result that it brings 6 months from now when I have a busy pipeline and things go well. So the biggest factors of our success is that we're consistent with our actions and we follow a system of every day. Like we have a CRM, we use it religiously. Everything goes into there and every person gets set up on a keep in touch call. We follow up relentlessly with people, even if they've ghosted us 3 months ago. Like we're not trying to be pesty or bother them or whatever, but we're like, hey, you identified that you have a need. You're not responding to me, but I'm just going to keep sending you a listing every now and then, or asking how you're doing or making sure you're okay until you either tell me you bought something or you want me to stop. Yeah. So we're persistent in that sense. And we provide an immense amount of value for our database. So if you can do those things, I find you'll be successful. But again, I don't know what it's like for you guys. I understand there's a lot of members that have actually asked, like I've had a conversation with a number of people from Ontario over the last few months, and they're quite concerned about what's going on, the state of affairs in your province. So I don't know what to expect. So it's scary because your province is so highly inflated with the real estate market. It's nuts. Like, I mean, how does a young family afford a $1.3 million townhouse that's three bedrooms and 1 bathroom?
I honestly, like, it blows my mind. And like, for example, we've been talking about wanting to, upgrade in the sense of like, my dad lives with us now and we've converted a living room into his bedroom. But, ideally it would be nice to just have a house that suited us all in our own space and have our normal living spaces for living spaces. Like we can't afford to do that right now. Like literally,
coupled with the interest rates and everything,
and that's the thing. When we bought this house, I've said this so many times on on a bunch of different podcasts, but we locked in at 1.84%. It doesn't even make any sense for us to do anything with our mortgage right now. Like, no.
Yeah, but I am concerned for the legion of people that did the same thing that you did, that in 5 years when when their term comes up and their income hasn't changed there. Yeah. But I do believe that by the time that happens, it'll be back to more normal level, like 3%. Mm-hmm. So it won't be a huge, like if you go from 1.8 to 3, it's not going to kick you in the teeth as hard. But like I bought a rental property last June and my mortgage went up $650 a month on that thing since I bought it.
Yeah, like that's significant. And that is what we're seeing. Like I know there's one of the girls on our team, like she just had a client purchase a house, I think like last year, and she just had to sell it because she cannot afford, like with the interest rates, like she's like, I can't, like I'm going to lose this house if I stay here.
Yeah, the thing that I am saying to people right now is that like if you can make it work now is the best time to buy, because if your numbers work for your own personal home or for an investment property at the interest rates that they're at, when they go back down, and they will go back down. Yeah. We're not sure when, but we know they will. Your numbers will improve. So versus buying when it was really low, it's like, okay, well, every time it goes up, you're going to get hurt. But I don't think any mortgage broker for a 2-year period did a variable mortgage when they were like 1.2 and 1.8%. It was all right. So it's one of those weird things. It's a phenomenon, really. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I always tell people that, like, I probably told more people last year to stay put than I did to say, all right, let's do this. Right. And I didn't feel bad about doing it because I know that I was doing what was best for them. And they're all so amazingly grateful for it because they're like, I'm so glad you told us to stay. Like, I'm so glad.
Well, and that I feel I'm the same way. And I commend you for being like that, because your integrity is always going to be your number one promotion in your business. But it's shitty in the short term when you're like, I just talked 5 people out of selling.
Yeah, exactly.
But down the line, that's going to compound, because now you have an advocate that's going to wave your flag and they're going to tell everyone they know about you because you're honest with them. Mm-hmm. Like I have clients that their house just closed yesterday. And last February, I moved them out of Airdrie to the southwest of Calgary. And then they bought this piece of shit house and renovated it, fixed it up. And then they were like, we don't really like living in the South Calgary. We don't come back to Airdrie. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding. So they sold that house and moved back to Airdrie. And when we were looking for them to, to buy their new house back in Airdrie, they had already sold their house. And so they were getting to a bit of a panic rush and they wanted to write these offers on these houses. And I kept telling them, no, no, you can't. No, you're not writing an offer on this house. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, this is not the house for you. And you know, it's not. And you're making this decision because you're panicking, but don't panic. We're going to find something. And then they were like, okay, thank you for being honest. And then like the perfect house for them came up, like the perfect house, like their forever home. They're never going to leave. And they were like, we're so glad that we didn't buy that other house that you told us not to buy. But can you imagine if I was just like, sure, write an offer. Let's go.
Right.
Then they're like 2 years later, are they going to move again? Because they're not happy.
Yeah, exactly. No. Yeah, I get those messages all the time saying like, I'm so thankful, like, thank you. And sometimes I feel like I'm being a total bitch because sometimes you actually have to like, to get the message across. It's like, look, I'm not trying to be a dink right now, but you need 4 bedrooms. This house is 3. You cannot make this work. This is not going to work. So I always feel like a dink when I have to be like, bring them back to, you know, what
that's your job
and the goals and everything were, right?
That's your job. And I feel like that's why 2% of the people in our industry make 98% of the money, because it's very easy to get a real estate license. It's not very easy to make money doing it. And it's not easy to build a long-term business that's going to sustain itself. But the people that do it honestly, that take care of their people, that care about their people, that will tell them the truth when they don't want to hear it and be their advisor instead of just someone that wants to facilitate a transaction, they're the ones that will make it long term. And this, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right?
And I will do a little plug for coaching, because coaching obviously has significantly helped and changed your business as it has mine. Like I was 1 foot out the door prior to getting into coaching. And then I got into coaching and I like tripled my business. And I was like, holy cow, I didn't realize this. I didn't.
Good for you. And the things that you do, looking back now, you probably thought like, seriously, that's what you want me to do?
Yeah. I didn't have a CRM. I didn't have anything. Like I'm like, I know everybody that I've done business with. How do you not? When I hear an agent saying that they don't have a CRM, I'm like, how long have you been in the business? Like 3 days?
But there's
that's acceptable.
There's people in my company that are at the top of the pack every year that I've spoken to that don't have CRMs. And I'm like, the fact that you're maintaining that level of business without one, and they're like, I use sticky tabs or sticky notes, and I use spreadsheets and all these things. I'm like, the fact that you're doing as well as you are without the system is amazing. Good for you. But can you imagine how much money you're leaving on the table by not having a system to manage your contacts?
Right.
Like I time block my birthday cards every month. Okay. I used to do it every week. And then I'm like, this is becoming too excessive. So I take a 4-hour time block the last Thursday of every month, and I do all my birthday cards for the next month. Birthday cards and home anniversary cards, right? And it's usually anywhere in the number of 35 to 50 cards that I do in that period. So I found ways to speed that up too. I got a stamp with my return address, handwritten. So my girlfriend got me to write out my my return address. We sent it to Vistaprint. We got a stamp. Okay. Yep. So that's super easy.
You know what I do for birthday cards? I have a remarkable. So I handwrite my birthday greeting.
Mm-hmm.
I put it into the card on Vistaprint, and I get 50 of them printed. And I usually do a male and a female card, because if my clients are like, they are each going to get a birthday card, right? And I don't want it to be the same card. So I do a male and a female version. I do the handwritten, and then I send it through Vistaprint with my message printed on it. So that I literally have my son throw in the scratch card. I do like a little
I do a scratch card too.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think it's the best way.
I buy them 100 at a time from Shoppers Drug Mart. I just made friends with the sweet little lady, old lady that works there.
Yeah.
And I asked her if she could order me 100, because I kept coming in to get 10 or what. I'm like, how many do you have? I'll buy them all.
You know, it's funny. I go in and I'm like, can I buy a package of?
Yeah.
They're like a whole pack. I'm like, like the whole entire pack. Yes, the whole entire pack.
Yeah, they'll order me 100 at a time now. And I come in and buy them, and then I'm like, okay, I'll see you in 3 months.
Yeah.
That's a great idea, though. I appreciate that. And it looks like you wrote it, right?
Well, of course, yeah. I'm just wondering if I have, and I do that with my house anniversary cards too. So I got I did a couple of different styles. I don't have any up here.
And then all you have to do is just address the envelope to the people.
Mhm.
So another thing, here's the thing that I found to be really good is that I write on the front of the card, I put a star, and then I write open March 12th/23 with another star. So
Okay.
on the envelope, because no one checks their mail on time anyway.
No.
Well, on the envelope, when they open it, they see it's from me, and then they see their birthday on the front with stars around it, and they're like, immediately they know that it was intentional.
Yeah.
But for me, it's a filing system as well because I put them on my shelf in order, and then I go, okay, which ones do I got to mail this week? I got to go up to this one, and then boom, in the mail it goes.
I've come up with a solution for that too. So I already have my April cards ready to go. On my card, I always say, okay, it's your birthday month. It's time to celebrate now, all month long. And I send them all out the day before the first day of the month. And then I don't have to worry about timing my mailers because that drove me crazy.
So on the card, like on the message on the inside?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just like, hey, it's your birthday month. I hope you start to celebrate now. Happy birthday. Have an amazing birthday month. I just call it a birthday month.
Interesting.
Because then it just kind of avoids me having to personally figure out when to send the mail out because I've got too many clients I do that for.
That's awesome.
And then I just started doing their kids. So I've always had a little soft spot for kids. And, you know, as a mother, I love having I love having those experiences where you go to a business and they treat your kids or do something special for them. And I'm like, that is freaking amazing. Like, yeah, totally. When we were buying our travel, like, camping trailer, it was like super hot. It was during the summer and we were, you know, touring around the mall and they went and they got the kids freezies. And I know that's super stupid and like irrelevant really to buying a trailer, but the fact that it, you know, it gave them something to eat and they enjoyed it and they loved it. And I was just like, I want to do something special for my clients' kids too, because I love, you know, having that feeling as a parent, feeling like my kids are special to them. Right. Yeah, so I've created a pre-written birthday card for them as well. And I put a little candle in it. And then I say, make sure you make a really great wish on this candle. Happy birthday.
Cute.
Yeah.
Huh.
I just implemented that this year. But I'm like, I, as a parent, would really love getting that for my kids or having my kids receive that. So I'm like, we'll see how it plays out, but I'm pretty sure that everyone will love it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Good for you.
But yeah, so I don't know. We've talked about lots of things. I guess my one maybe last question would be, with as busy as you are, how are you balancing work life? I know there is no such thing in real estate, but some sort of a balance. I know you love to. Are you in a band or are you just kind of like, that's just a hobby or?
I used to be in bands, but now I just play music for fun.
Because you were really good. Like, thanks. You were amazing in Toronto in whenever that was.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, so the balancing took a long time to sort of figure out. I think that's more of a spiritual thing, to be honest, as crazy as it sounds. Is like, in the beginning, I never had balance for work because I was starving and I was broke and I needed money and I wanted to make sure that I could pay my bills and I would never turn away. But then eventually, I also had this fear that, like, if I'm not available all the time, people will walk away from me or they'll find a different agent. I soon realized that's not the truth. It's actually the opposite of that. If you're available all the time, people won't respect you as much. Not that they won't respect you, but if you're a busy person and like, I actually never answer my phone. So when someone calls, I'll hit them with, I'm on the other line, I'm in a meeting, or I'm doing showings. Because if I can turn a 7-minute conversation into a 30-second text message, I'm gonna try to do that. I have anywhere between 60 and 100 text message conversations a day. It's insane. And that's just text message conversations. That's not, you know, me, like that's me and you texting plus 59 other conversations.
Right.
It's nuts. And then there's emails, and then there's phone calls. So I have learned that people will wait for you. You don't have to react to everything. You don't have to react to anything, really. Bill has been great at teaching me how to be responsive, not reactive.
I'm trying so hard to take that from him because my phone is always on silent. So I've got the phone on silent down pat, but the reactive, like, he's like, you only respond, like you let it go to voicemail or you let it, but I'm like, but what if they're just calling the first 5 realtors and whoever picks up is whoever, that's what I'm always afraid of. Like,
well, but like, do you want to work with somebody that's that spastic?
No, not really.
You know what I mean? Like, so, and if they can't wait an hour for you to call them back,
Right.
then, or 2 hours or whatever it is, if someone calls me at 9:00 at night on a Wednesday, I'm not going to answer that or call them back. I'll call them back the next day. I used to email clients all night long, 1:00 in the morning. I'd be like responding to emails. So, and I thought it made me look like I was on the ball and I was super hardcore. And it's like, I'm ready to go. And it's like, yeah, sure. Maybe that does that, but it's at what expense?
Yeah.
So now I'm pretty good about, when my day is done at 5:00, I shut down, but that took 5 years to develop that discipline. I still check my phone. I'm still looking at it all the time, but I find that, I know that there's things that I can just deal with later.
It's not life threatening. Like nobody's dying, everything, like, unless, the house is on fire, even in that scenario, there's nothing you can do about it. So,
when the market gets crazy and you literally have to drop what you're doing to go see a house because it'll be sold that night, then it's a different story, but we're not in that market right now. Yeah. So, it is what it is. So, but my big thing for balance is understanding that, I have been through a number of burnouts, and last year I went through a very serious burnout where it potentially could have caused long-term irreversible damage. Thankfully it didn't, but I was down and out for about 2 months. I couldn't get out of bed. I was like exhausted. I fried my adrenal glands. I had to see a specialist. It was bad. And so my big challenge was that I went from a physical labor job to like a white collar job where like you're working with your brain, you're not working with your body.
Yeah.
And it still doesn't feel like work to me. I'm like, I'm just answering emails. It's not like it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
But that at the end of the day, your mental energy and the amount of stuff that you've exerted is like, it wears your whole system down.
It is very mentally draining for sure.
Oh my God. Your whole nervous system and everything just gets fried.
Yeah.
And then someone asked me, when was the last time you had 24 hours without your phone? I'm like, I don't think I've ever done that. And so I started being conscious of that. It's like, do I need to send this email today? Do I need to respond to this text message right now? Do I need to answer these people right now? Like if you have an iPhone, which you don't, but majority of
I get slack from that. I'm an orange. I'm not an Apple.
Yeah. So you can pin up to 9 texts at the top of your text log. So what I do is if I get a text from someone and I really need to deal with it or respond to it, but I'm not going to do that right now, I'll pin it to the top of my text log. And then when I get to 9, I'm like, shit, I better deal with some of these people because I need more room for other people. But it's a constant flow. And it's just like my inbox. Like I strive to have 0 emails in my inbox at all times. And it happens maybe twice a year for 30 seconds. Yeah. But I'm constantly like every day trying to minimize, the amount of emails that I'm at. And so it's the same thing with my text. It's like, I want to have no text pinned, but there's sometimes I have a text pinned for 2-3 days because I'm like, this is not crucial. I don't need to deal with this right now. So that's been the biggest helper for me, is that understanding that I want to have a life, and like making the kind of money that I make is great. And I'm thrilled about it. And I feel super blessed, but like, what good is it if you hate your life and you're not taking any time to enjoy it?
Absolutely. Yeah. So do you do like the 24 hours a week, the week per month, and what is that?
Yeah, one day per week, 1 weekend per month, and 1 week per quarter.
Yes, 1 week per quarter.
I do. I never did. It's taken me a long time to do that, and I actually now try to always take the weekends off. Period.
Yeah.
I don't really work with buyers as much anymore. My goal this year was to only do 10 buyer deals. So, and I've done 4 already, so I have to slow down.
So now you really have to promote yourself as limited spaces available.
Yeah.
Right?
For real. I will take a buyer if it's a direct referral from my database. I will take a buyer if it's a repeat from my database. But if it's anything out of that, even if it's a realtor referral, I will pass it off. If I don't know that person, and it's not that I don't want to personally service the realtor referrals, it's just that we get a lot of them. Like realtor referrals last year, I think we did 17 deals.
Wow.
Because so many people are moving to Calgary, like everyone wants to move to Calgary. And so if you're known as a guy in Calgary, then you get the referral. And I'm sure that the other members got even more than that. But if it's a direct referral from my database specifically, I will work with that buyer because I want to show that person that thank you for your referral.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do my best with this person because they're important to you. So that means they're important to me.
Yeah.
Now, again, I don't believe that I don't want the realtors that send us referrals to feel as though I don't have that same attitude, because I do. But the team treats that lead the same way that I would, because it's a deal they wouldn't have had and they're excited to help them. And we communicate incredibly well with realtors that send us referrals. So we let them know when we've made contact with them. We let them know when we've got their house listed. We let them know when we've accepted an offer, and then we let them know when it's firm. And then we follow up after the closing to say, hey, I've been paid. You probably will be getting paid in the next 2-3 days. If you don't, let me know and I'll follow up. Right.
The brilliant Kim Heisman program that she does, eh? That's Kim where I learned that from her.
Yeah, Kim taught me that. I straight up just copied it from her. But I sent her a referral and she did that to me and I appreciated it. So we just like them to know that if you send us business, we're going to take it seriously and you're going to get paid.
Yeah.
So, but for me personally, I don't want to work with every buyer that comes through the system or else I'll die.
Yeah. You would not be able to keep up for sure. Well, I think that anyone who's tuned in today has probably learned several golden nuggets, I think. So I do appreciate you hopping on with your busy schedule in life and sharing your golden nuggets. And I know I will see you and hear from you and stuff, but if anyone wants to reach out to you, how should they do that?
So email is the best way for me. And my email address is just Derek, DEREK @maverickgroupyyc.com, or our website, maverickgroupyyc.com. I am on social media, but I kind of made a huge point of quitting it last year and it's been very successful.
I actually thought you fell off the face of the earth. I was like, what happened to Derek? Is he selling real estate still, or what happened?
No, people have asked me that. People have challenged me on well, you're probably losing out on deals because you're not showing your face. And in fact, I actually grew my business without social media because the amount of time I was spending on it versus the amount of deals that came from it was very limited. And so I don't believe, and I've had many conversations with guys like Tom Story and other people that take social media very seriously. Now, Tom does very, very well on YouTube, which is a different angle in my opinion, but I just don't believe that social media is going to generate any activity or business for me. And I saw it firsthand when I did 91 deals in 2021, and only one of them came from social media, and it was a total fluke. And so I started counting I use my screen time app, which again, you don't have an iPhone, so I'm not sure if yours does this, but our apps will tell us how long we spent.
I have that too.
And so I'm like, okay, I spent this many hours on social media this week. If I multiply that out over a year and times that by my my hourly rate and then multiply that number by 2 because I was not bringing in business, so I had to pay myself for that time and I wasn't bringing it in, that number totaled $160,000. And I'm like, so I cost myself $160,000 to brag to the world about how awesome I think I am as a real estate agent? That's bullshit. Yeah. So I quit. And
it's such an amazing accomplishment though, because it's an addiction, I think, to a lot of people, right? It's an addiction. It's that need that, but the fact that you're focusing your time and energy on the things that are actually productive and income producing, that is why obviously you're seeing the results that you're seeing.
I also think for me, I can't speak for everybody. I think but a common trend with social media is people want validation. And I definitely wanted that. And this goes back to the conversation we had last week with myself as a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, is that I was such a broken soul for so long that I needed people to give me that love and that attention just so that I could feel okay. But then I got to a point where I felt okay. And I was like, well, I don't need this shit anymore from these people. It's not that, and it's not shit. I don't need to be look at me, I did good. Am I okay? Right. Yeah. So last year we flipped 4 houses. I didn't tell anybody about it. Bill didn't even barely know about it. I'm like, yeah. So kind of building my dream house right now because I made enough money off of flipping 4 houses to pay for the down payment. He's like, you did what? I'm like, oh yeah, I flipped 4 houses in 2022. He's like, are you fucking serious? Like, and
How
so,
did
but I
you do
didn't,
that?
you know, and I also bought a rental property, and then now I'm building essentially like what I feel at the moment is my dream home. It might change and grow over time to be a different dream, but we're building this beautiful home right on the water with a triple car detached garage and a 2-bedroom carriage house above it, and it's fully my girlfriend's an interior designer, so it's custom built the ass, and we're gonna have an Airbnb above the garage. It's gonna pay our mortgage. It's like we're living our dream life. But like, I don't
Amazing.
want to show. I don't. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I don't want to go and openly show that to the world. I just want the people that I care about to know that. And
Yeah.
like, I want to have barbecues, and I want to have backyard parties, and I want to have dinner parties and invite clients over and do that sort of stuff. But I'm not going to run around social media and show them my life because
Exactly.
I just don't feel. And maybe that'll change. Maybe that'll change. But for me, I'm like, I'm doing this for me so I can enjoy the moment. And that's
Same
about
thing
it.
with me. Like we were just in Florida. We just went to Disney. Like I was thinking last night, I'm like, did I even post any pictures? I don't think I did. Like,
Yeah.
but I don't care because it
Your
was
kids know.
yeah.
Your
What's
kids
that?
know that it happened.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
Of
they're
course.
so thrilled, right? So, and again, I hope whoever's listening to this doesn't take this offensive. If that's how you live your life and you enjoy that and you can do it
Yeah.
in a healthy manner, great, go for it. I just
Yeah.
personally got to a point where I was like, this has no benefit on me
Yeah.
anymore, and I don't enjoy this.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I look forward to at least getting pictures of this house because that sounds absolutely beautiful.
Well, better
Um,
yet, come visit and
yeah,
stay in it.
yes, I will actually,
We have a
especially being on the water. I can, and my husband used to work in Alberta, so he's always like, oh, when the kids are older, we should go and move there. And I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know.
we have a 2-bedroom suite above our garage that's welcome for guests. You know what I mean?
Amazing. Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time. I know that you've got a busy schedule, so we'll wrap this up, but I appreciate you and yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's been my pleasure.